What's up, guys? My name is Eric. If you're new to my channel, it's all mental health, mental illness, suicide awareness, making sure that nobody goes through life alone. If you haven't hit that like and subscribe button, hit that like and subscribe button. I love to share off of experience. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a counselor. I'm diagnosed with ADHD, PTSD, GAD, MDD, recovering cocaine alcoholic addict, lost a wife and a father to suicide, been through a lot of shit, and I like to share because I know people out there are struggling, and the more that we do share, the more that it helps nobody go alone. 5 strange myths of ADHD. I'm ADHD. I was diagnosed ADD at about 14. I was re-diagnosed later on as ADHD, which is the hyperactivity part of ADD. ADD is actually being phased out, and there's subcategories of ADHD. And that's the thing with mental health is it's always forever almost changing because as we learn more and more about it, become more and more aware about it, it actually breaks down differently. And there's always these different changes to it that it's almost something like you have to keep up. Unfortunately, we're not like a car. You can't plug us in and go, oh, hey, guess what? They have ADHD. No, you do have to get tested for it. If you are questioning that you have ADHD, get with a therapist. Make sure that you get diagnosed with it because it is often misdiagnosed with bipolar 1 because they do have a lot of the same attributes. So 5 strange facts of ADHD. The first one are males are 3 times more likely to have ADHD than women. That's a fact. So guys, if you're out there and you have ADHD, we're 3 times more likely to have it than a woman is. And there's not a whole lot on the reasoning behind it. Women do have ADHD and do have ADD also. Their signs, though, to it are also a lot well hidden versus what a male signs are. We're a little bit more boisterous, vocal, where women typically are a little bit more quiet. And this is just from what the research shows. Now, if you go onto Google and you go to WebMD, this is where you'll find out where I do a lot of my research at and where I've gotten the statistics from. 13% of men out there will be diagnosed with ADHD. So it's not extremely uncommon. I mean, that's 1 out of 10 men have ADHD. So that is one of the things that you got to remember. I mean, that's how prevalent it is. 13% doesn't seem like a great number until you break it down like, hey, pretty much 1 out of 10 guys has ADHD. And then all of a sudden you're going, well, that's kind of common. A little bit more common than what we usually think. Average ADHD age right now of diagnosis is 7. So that's actually 7 years sooner than what I was diagnosed with ADD. I was diagnosed right around 14. It was because I was struggling a lot in school. I was struggling just concentrating, struggling with anger, struggling with a lot of frustration. But the more and more that we become open-minded, the diagnosis age, it looks like, has actually decreased down some into the age of 7. Symptoms for ADHD, another little bit of an odd fact, first appear between the ages of 3 and 6. That's pretty freaking early. And those symptoms, though, I think a lot of times, and this is just, again, not diagnosing anybody, just from my personal experience, at 3 to 6, we don't know how to communicate correctly of what we're going through up here because it is a challenge. It's so many massive thoughts. A lot of times there's a lot of outbursts. There's a lot of anger. There's a lot of temper. And it's not because it's derived at somebody. It's because literally we can't control this up here. We can't communicate correctly. So the symptoms are first going to appear at 3 to 6. You probably won't know that those are symptoms of it because at 3 to 6, we don't know how to communicate properly. I mean, it took me a while to learn how to even communicate. One, ADHD and communication is a struggle, but at that age, trying to say, hey, guess what's going on in my brain is fucking impossible. So it is often overlooked a little bit. It probably is thrown off for a lot of different things. And a lot of times people are like, oh, look at the little hyper kid running around the playground. No, ADHD is not the jumping around, bouncing around on the playground. That's not what it is. It's actually more thought-driven than anything else. The last really odd, creative, strange fact of ADHD is that ADHD is not a childhood disorder. There is a lot of that misconception out there still. There's a lot of that myth out there still that ADHD is a childhood disorder, and it's not. I'm 39 years old. I'm ADHD, and ADHD does not go away. We don't grow out of it. It's something that we have for the rest of our lives. And that's one of the things that you have to remember is that if you are diagnosed with a mental illness, these illnesses aren't just going to one day wake up and they vanish and they disappear. So it's not something that you are going to grow out of. If you are struggling or you are concerned or questioning if you have ADHD, get with a therapist, get with your family, ask for help. And asking for help, getting the right diagnosis makes life so much fucking easier. Otherwise, all we're doing is fucking struggling through life every single day, and it's not worth it to struggle, especially when there are all the tools out there for us. If you haven't hit that like and subscribe button, hit that like and subscribe button. Down in the description area, I have links to all my different social medias. I do a lot of social media of reaching out, helping others, and pretty much doing everything that I can to help bridge the gap between a crisis hotline and therapy, just sharing tools, experiences, support, whatever it takes to make life a little bit easier for somebody out there. Have links down below to the mental health discords for peer-to-peer support. It's free service. There are huge Discord communities, and it's awesome to see when people that are struggling get together and help each other. I have links down below to things on Amazon that I use for my anxiety, like fidget spinners, fidget cubes, weighted blankets. Even have a link down below for BetterHelp. And it's trial and error to find out what works for you. And what works for somebody may not work for you, but it's all part of that process of trial and error, finding out what works for you. Because you got to remember this, you're the most important person in the world. You're a fucking BAMF. You're a badass motherfucker. You made it through 100% of your worst days to make it through to today, and you didn't come this far to only come this far. So hit that like and subscribe button, comment down below, and let's do this together.